guys, Nick here with another 9 to 5 crypto episode, and today we're talking about crypto regulation. Yep, that again. We're also talking about video games, one of the biggest video game publishers in the world, diving headfirst into blockchain technology. We're also talking about HR bin admin suite platforms, so software integrated in businesses, integrating with, yep, you guessed it, blockchain technology. All right, guys, we're going to cover this all in about 5 minutes or less, and that's the challenge, so let's get rolling. All right, guys, starting with our first story, we're talking about regulation. Yay! Gets me all warm and fuzzy inside. Anyhow, this is about the 8-word crypto amendment in infrastructure bill and affront to the rule of law. So legal experts have kind of weighed in here, and they have some problems with it. University of Virginia School of Law lecturer Abraham Sutherland said it is a separate provision to the controversial broker provision, right? So we heard about the broker provision before, where everyone basically would be a broker, and it's really hard to stand by that and, give them the forms and information that they need because not everyone's legitimately a broker. I digress. It's bad for all users of digital assets, but it's especially bad for decentralized finance. Imagine that. The statute would not ban DeFi outright. Instead, it imposes reporting requirements that, given the way DeFi works, would make it impossible to comply. Because, of course, it would make it impossible to comply. Anyhow, you go down here, you scroll through here, you can see the section 6050I, and it's part of the infrastructure bill, which that was snuck in here. And it's starting to talk about receive either physical cash or a bank transfer in excess of $10,000 to file Form 8300 and report the sender's personal information, typical information such as name, address, social security number. The 8-word amendment in the new bill includes any digital asset in the definition of cash. So again, broad strokes to the brush here, right? Any digital asset. There's just not a lot of clarity here, and it's just very ambiguous. And I think it is in the way because it looks like a cash cow kind of, opportunity to regulate, to be honest. If 6050I is applied to digital asset transactions, businesses and many individuals who fail to report the digital assets sender's information to the IRS would be considered felonious criminals. Yep, felonious criminals if you can't comply to something that you can't comply to. Anyhow, banks and other financial institutions are exempt. So that's the good news, right? Banks are exempt. Of course they are. But they're also trying to kind of get a unanimous decision on this, so we'll see what happens. Alrighty. This kind of ties into story number 1, but there's a big fight and it's brewing over cryptocurrencies, and we have some key faces that you might be familiar with. There's SEC Chairman Gary Gensler. He holds no bar, wants to rule with an iron fist, and honestly probably looks at the crypto market again with a bunch of dollar signs in his eyes. Hey, let's get a bunch of people that are either in compliance or not in compliance and try to force them to be all non-compliant and then sue them. Anyway, because regulation by enforcement solved everything. CFTC acting chairman Rustin Benham, and yeah, they talk about the regulatory turf war between CFTC and SEC, and Benham kind of talks about how they're going to have to adapt. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellin, yes, she's probably a lot of people's favorite in the cryptocurrency space. She's coming after stablecoins with Gary, with the team. Yay. Senator Elizabeth Warren, yep, she really expressed her concerns about investor protection, or the lack thereof. And that's in a guise to, regulate the space and cash in some dollars. Then I have Senator Cynthia Lummis. Yeah, she's bought her first Bitcoin, but she's also talking about XRP being a security, which I'm sorry, but that's a kind of poor take. We can have another video on that. Senator Patrick Toomey, he's been pretty good. He's been pretty positive about cryptocurrencies, asked some tough questions, and so I do appreciate his take. But yeah, those are kind of the big names in there. All right, story number 3 that we're talking about today, guys. Ubisoft drinks the crypto Kool-Aid, announces plans to develop blockchain games. Yep, one of the biggest publishers in the space, Ubisoft, has formally announced its intention to develop play-to-earn NFT and blockchain games, a publisher revealed during last week's Q2 earnings call. Woo! Yay, Ubisoft. They already have a bunch of, crappy microtransactions, and now they're getting into blockchain, which is cool for adoption, but also, for Ubisoft, because it's Ubisoft. Anyhow, kind of look down in here, but it's also worth a reminder that NFTs aren't just environmentally devastating. So this is a take of the author. They're terrible at what they set out to fix, creating a glorified Steam marketplace that doesn't provide safety or security for digital artists. That's a take that I absolutely don't agree with. I think there actually is a lot of security getting baked into cryptocurrency and blockchain technology itself, and it can solve a lot of different security issues. So, kind of a confusing take. But the point here is that one of the biggest publishers in video games history is actually getting a blockchain. That's awesome. All right, guys, for our final story, we're talking about HR technology, interoperating and working with blockchain technology, which is really cool because I work in HR tech. So here's our story about e-procurement solution with a ServiceNow and Hedera AppNet. What is an AppNet? An AppNet is a distributed, collaborative network of applications installed in multiple ServiceNow instances that use the Hedera distributed ledger technology to exchange, sign, verifiable, and order state changes. Each ServiceNow instance connects to Hedera through the DLT nodes, which Hedera Council members operate, receives the information from the network through the Hedera mirror nodes as well. Each ServiceNow instance can be part of a multiple of AppNets supporting different business networks and value streams. So diversification of value streams and business platforms, really cool. An AppNet creates a distributed shared data model and a multi-party business process that is cryptographically verifiable and subject to consensus between the interacting parties. So verifiable, adding security, that's awesome. Okay, and then we can talk about traditional procurement systems, establishing one-to-one connections between every supplier. And the kind of value part here is that this network must be trustless because it contains competing entities that need to work together through a multi-party business process. Hence, the benefit of using Hedera Hashgraph DLT to guarantee certified, signed, and timestamped interactions or transactions without the need for a trusted third party, a trustless system. Awesome. All right, so the business value represented by the hyperautomation, there's different points here. In public sectors, public tenders are a sweet spot for optimization and transparency. Manufacturing implements e-procurement to manage high throughputs for the business networks and streamline supply chains. Telecoms are at the forefront of building distributed marketplaces for collaboration, bidding between multiple operators and service providers bidding for different network segments. Financial institutions like banks are involved in trade finance and can be authorized to inspect their customer supply chain. Really cool for audits. That's awesome. ESG auditors, that's the last one, need to inspect supply chains for carbon emissions, rate the sustainability for their auditees, and access certified data to prevent greenwashing. So really cool. There's some key takeaways here. And the AppNet concept is highly general and applies to every situation where a shared business model and multi-party workflow are required. This POC shows how to create a decentralized market for e-procurement, leveraging ServiceNow low-code capabilities, Layer 2 and 3 solutions, and Hedera DLT Layer 1 solution. So yeah, guys, that's a really cool story, and that will wrap it up. All right, well, that's a wrap. What do you guys think about regulation in the crypto space? What about video games and crypto? And also, what about business applications, day-to-day businesses operating with blockchain? Do you think it's here to stay? Leave me a comment down below. If you can, like and subscribe. And until next time, guys, remember, coffee's on me.